What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Why am I laughing? Why am I smiling? Well, it's pretty simple. We just got the newest trailer for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and let me just tell you, if you haven't seen it yourself, go watch it and come back to this video. You know what? Don't even go anywhere. We're gonna play it again, and this is going to be our trailer breakdown, first impressions. I'll give you my thoughts on the trailer because I didn't in the last one. I was just so excited to get my reaction up to you. Probably one of the purest and most genuine reactions I have done to date, and I'm really proud of it. So hopefully you guys check that out. If you haven't, I highly encourage it. And without further ado, let's not waste any time. Let's get into this trailer. But before we do, if you enjoy the content, drop a like on this video. So it greatly helps out the channel. Subscribe if you're new here, as we would love to have you become a part of the community. We got many trailer reactions, breakdowns, and all the pop culture stuff you could possibly want to talk about. Let's be friends, shall we? Without further ado, let's watch this trailer. Oh, baby.
You're an interesting man, Scott Lang.
Probably my third time watching it. It's so good.
You have a daughter, but you've lost a lot of time, like me. We can help each other with that.
There are so many little pieces that you can pick from this trailer just in the first like 20 seconds.
Who are you? I'm the man who can give you the one thing you want. What's that?
Time.
Time.
I don't know what it is about that just sends chills down my spine. It's such a cold statement.
Rewrite existence and shatter timelines. You cannot trust him.
I don't care who this guy is.
And you get to see MODOK.
So much. He can give us a second chance.
This is feeling like the most relatable story we've seen in a long time. Scott is really fighting for something true.
Let me make this easy for you. You will bring me what I need, or everything you call a life will end.
I feel like this is going to be a much more serious tone Ant-Man movie.
This is all my fault.
Oh my God.
I want her to watch this.
We had a deal.
And they finally go toe to toe.
You thought you could win.
I don't have to win. We both just have to lose. I'm sorry, Cassie.
All right, guys, so we are going to replay this trailer. I'll probably go at about half speed. One of the things I like to do with the breakdowns that I do, I like to preface it with the knowledge that I am not an aficionado or a master know-it-all, an encyclopedia of everything Marvel or any sort of trailer. All I do in my trailer reaction and breakdowns is try to give you a true, genuine response and engagement about the content that I am seeing, and maybe you can educate me. So if there's something that I miss in this trailer, please do not burn me at the stake, okay? I've already told you I don't know everything, okay? But that's what's beautiful about it, is this allows us an opportunity to discuss things, okay? Which I'm excited about. I really do enjoy doing these breakdowns and really just going frame by frame and dissecting what I see, what we see together, what stands out to you. Put it in the comments and let me know. I'm always down to be educated, please. So starting with this trailer, obviously you get a beautiful look at the skyline, very similar to what we saw in the first trailer. Not much changing there. And then you go to Scott Lang, obviously living his life, very kind of giving those, I want to say that this is giving very lighthearted vibes, similar to what we've come to recognize and be familiar with the first two Ant-Man films. Like I said before, the first two Ant-Man films were very much centered around, I would say, like, the first one was much more centered around, you know, Scott trying to find his way, and then the second one, I would say, kind of doubles down on that. It has a bit more action, but it's still more or less kind of the more lighthearted Avengers film, you know what I mean? And then you get to this film, and off the jump with the trailers, I would never assume that this is going to have nearly as much comedic humor and lightheartedness as what we've seen in the past few trailers. And I kind of like that. It's something I've been wanting for Scott Lang as a character, and for Ant-Man, the Ant-Man, you know, brand and the name was to be taken a bit more seriously. And I always was a little I was always a little bent out of shape over the fact that it never really felt like any of the Avengers really respected Scott, you know? Even though, if we really look back, he's the reason that everybody came back. He's the reason they defeated Thanos. Like, his brilliance and his mind and tact is really changed the game for them, and yet nobody gave him respect. But again, that's a different story for a different time. Obviously, as you can see, they're enjoying the life of Avengers who have saved the world yet again, and you know, he's loving it. But it seems like things are going to change very quickly as he finds himself in the quantum realm after a terrible mistake. You hear Kang in the background speaking, narrating over this, talking about the amount of time that Scott Lang has lost, and you can tell he clearly feels that. Obviously, Cassie, you get a first glimpse of her in this trailer. She's coming out of a jail cell, so obviously she hasn't necessarily taken the light, you know, the good path. She's obviously made some mistakes. She's done some things, and I mean, missing 5 years will definitely do that to you. And so here we are, you know, he's just kind of dealing with the repercussions of this kind of adolescent teen who probably doesn't feel like she knows her father. He doesn't feel like he knows her. He missed out on time. And before we go any further, that's really the crux of this story, right? It's a desperate man's attempt to regain something that he's lost. Kang is trying to take advantage of that by utilizing Scott's brilliance and his mind in order to manipulate him, really, to get him something that he cannot get himself, or something that he needs help in order to obtain. And so he's promising him something that, he's promising Scott something that he likely won't deliver on. And obviously, as you can imagine, it all goes to hell. And so everyone gets sucked in. Cassie falls in. And so, obviously Scott does what he does, the hero thing, and jumps headfirst right into the quantum realm. And Quantumania thus begins. And then we get this look. This is something I really like. I've enjoyed seeing this shot every time. I don't know if this is the first time that they're going to be meeting Ant-Man and Kang, but it definitely feels like that this is the first time. And what you get the sense of in the first trailer, at least from my perspective, is that these two were enemies at the jump. But it looks like Kang is trying to appeal to his kind of to Scott's heart and get him to, realize his desperation and look to Kang as the only source of salvation for what he has lost, which is time. And that's the same thing he promises him. Also, we got to take a look here, man. We got to show love. We finally get a look at the blue face. Obviously, as you can see, it doesn't, I don't think they're going to keep that 100%, which I'm totally okay with. I know people were kind of a little worried in the trailer that we saw the first time a couple months back that we didn't see the blue-faced Kang. And it looks like, they're going to be somewhat doing that in this one, which I'm okay with. So he obviously is promising him time. I love the look of Kang. Jonathan Majors, I gotta say, is absolutely popping off as an actor recently. Everything that he has been in has been incredible. He's not only going to be an Ant-Man in this month, but I believe it's in March. He's going to be, I think it's March. He's in Creed 3. So he's obviously in a lot of really great films. He was just in Devotion. He's really blowing up, and so you gotta love it. And obviously, we're probably not going to see too much of Kang in here, just a little bit, just a tiny bit of his power. And it's probably going to be enough to frighten the hell out of most of us with just what we see. And so obviously, as you can see, we're back here, what appears to be Kang's realm. I don't know if you guys know what the name is of this. If you do, please educate me in the comment section. I don't know a ton about Kang. I'd like to think that I knew a little bit more about Thanos and his backstory than I do about Kang. So this is all new territory for me. So as we enter phase 5, I do feel like I'm learning quite a bit of new stuff, which I'm okay with. But yeah, we're obviously in Kang's realm, and she knows a lot. She knows a lot about what's going on. Okay. And I feel like she's going to be the one to educate all of us about what Kang's true motives are. And she's the one who she actually goes into her own narrative and explains how, he can erase timelines and destroy dimensions. He is not one to be trusted. Obviously, as you can see, Scott splits in two, which I'm assuming is a variant. And she's like, you can't trust this man. He's bad news. Don't fall for it. Much love to the CGI, because the CGI looks absolutely incredible. You don't get a good sense of it here, but in some of the scenes, we were just looking at Kang's realm, you can clearly see there's just some solid, man. There's solid CGI in this film. Evangeline Lilly, absolutely love her. Been a fan of her for a long time. this is one we got to stop at. So obviously you see Kang, you see Cassie, you see Scott, and then you got to stop. This is the first time that we see MODOK. Now MODOK is someone that I'm familiar with, is a character that I'm familiar with from the comics. I remember seeing him in the animated series. And every time I see him, even seeing him now, I always felt that he was just a weird looking dude. He felt like I guess Marvel's version of like Brainiac, or if you're a fan of the Flash CW, he reminds me of the Thinker in a way. Just this big head dude, and it's just this super big head dude that is obviously evil. MODOK is bad news. MODOK is definitely bad news. But we get our first look at him, and I mean, you know, I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Like in the corner there, what are our thoughts? How are we feeling about the CGI for MODOK? Obviously, we don't get too much of a visual of him. Again, like I said, and a lot of people have been predicting this as well, is that Kang is not the main villain in this. Kang is just there to give us a little bit of a taste of what he wants, what his goal is. And I'm sure that story is going to continue to play out over the next, over the coming phase, the next phase, before we get into phase 6. Much of phase 5 is so important because it is continuing to build, I'm sure, in every film that drops this year, into him getting all the pieces of what he needs to basically rule the multiverses. And so that's his big end game. But I think this film is really going to be about him maybe stopping MODOK. Again, these are all speculations from me, but yeah, I don't know what the hell this is, but it looks to be, I don't know, what do you guys assume this is? My guess is that it's the center of the multiverse or something, if that even exists. I have no idea, but obviously they're all going there for a reason. You go back to, kind of appealing to the heartstrings a little bit of Kang, or I keep wanting to say Kang, of Scott, who obviously is a father who's lost a lot of time with Cassie, some of the most critical years of her life growing up, and now he kind of just is desperate to get that back. Like, he feels like he's lost so much, and he really has. Scott has given up a lot. He really has. And so obviously he's going to be a critical part to this film, and I really hope that he doesn't die in this movie. That would be a major bummer, but it looks like, yeah, there's definitely, these things are going to catch up with him, and it looks like he's going to have to make some really tough decisions for the sake of Cassie. Because again, we have to remember that Cassie is going to be a part of the Young Avengers. So not only is this a story about loss and about family, about reconnection and trying to gain what you've lost, but I feel like it's also a story that is going to be a kicking off point for Cassie. She's going to have a reason that she's going to continue the fight and continue Scott's legacy. So yeah, I could very much see him sacrificing himself in order to potentially stop. Maybe he stops this Kang. Maybe he stops this version of Kang. This might not be the baddest Kang that we know. It could just be a version of Kang that is like somewhat bad, but not like the baddest of the bad. So we have to keep that in mind too. He might actually end up just sacrificing himself to stop him. And all of this whole sea that you see, which is apparently all Scott Lang trying to create a tower, which I'm assuming is to get to the core of whatever this is, to stop it. I have no idea what this is. This could be the signal. If I had to take a guess, this could be the signal here that we saw back in Shang-Chi, where at the end we get the post-credit scene where they're looking and they're like, oh, this bracelet is, these rings, they're sending a signal, and that signal is obviously an important component. Probably that signal might potentially be coming from here, which connects this movie to it. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this movie ties in. I think this is going to be, obviously the beginning of phase 5 is going to have some major tie-ins to the MCU and the past, some of the past films that we've seen. Phase 4 again was just really like a kicking off point, but phase 5 is where I think things really start to kick off. And obviously, as you can see here, we get we get Evangeline Lilly, we get Paul Rudd's character, witness the beginning of a new dynasty. And as you can see, look at all this fighting happening. Holy smokes. Kang's army, obviously massive, like 10 times the size of Thanos' army. So this is like, and not only are they going to be, they're like, this army is likely going to be creating war and starting war in many different universes across the multiverse, the war of the multiverse. So you're going to see, I can't wait to see when the Avengers comes out and who they end up bringing in to this picture. It's going to be pretty awesome. It's going to be pretty awesome. But as you can see, this is something that I recognize in the trailer, but this could be potentially one of the Ant-Mans dying or something. I'm not exactly sure what's happening, but as you can see in the background, you can see all of these are different versions of Scott, and that's going to be pretty trippy. And then obviously, as you can see, he is going to betray Scott. Maybe Scott, changes his mind, ends up, switching up a little bit. Kang's like, hell no, dude, you're not about to play me. You don't know who I am. And he's like, dude, we had a deal. He's like, I don't give a damn about your deal. And then they go toe to toe. This is the first time we actually see Kang's abilities a little bit, which is going to be kind of interesting. And then I believe that's Cassie. War is continuing. We get our first look at like MODOK looking just lethal. MODOK is looking lethal in this image. Holy hell. Yeah, this is a big deal. This is a big deal. MODOK's going to be a big part of this. And we'll probably get to see how just badass Kang is. I hope they don't give too much away, though, because I genuinely really hope that this is just really just a tiny bite-sized flavor taste of what Kang is and how powerful he is. I really don't want to see too much of him in this movie. And I know, like, we're in phase 5, so it's technically not, like, too early. Like, after next year, after these films come out, phase 5, next year, we're going to be looking at 2 Avengers films. So it's going to be a big deal. It's going to be a big deal. And he just absolutely goes off, dude. He goes off. I don't know what Kang's abilities are. I know, is he super strong or something? I'm really not sure. I don't know too much about Kang at all. But obviously, he looks like he's putting the hurt. He's putting the hurt on Scott Lang. And he's like, dude, he's like, I tried to tell you. He's like, you can't beat me. He's like, I don't need to beat you. I just need you to lose. And yeah, it's going to be, that's where I think he's going to sacrifice himself. I really do feel like this potentially could be the end of Scott Lang. And he's going to sacrifice himself and allow some new people, new heroes to take over. And obviously, as you can see, war happening in the background. And then you see Kang himself unleash some of his powers. Dude, I don't even know. I don't even know what to say. But all I can say is that this film is going to be massive. It's going to be massive in terms of what this is going to mean, what it's going to lead to in future MCU films coming out this year. Guardians is going to be a big deal as well, and so many others. I cannot wait to see just how impactful this film is, and I think it's gonna be pretty important. Pretty important. I'm so curious to see how this film ties in to some of the previous ones that we've seen in phase 4, how it's going to tie into some of the future films. And I think a lot of answers about Kang and about this multiversal war and what his goals are, what he's after, which we've already kind of speculated. I think all of that's going to come to play in this film. So let me know in the comment section below if there's anything that I missed. This is just me going frame by frame, talking to you guys about some of the things that stood out to me, because I really am excited about this film. It's something that I can't wait to see, and I just love sharing my excitement with you guys. You guys get excited, I get excited. It's all love out here. It's all love. So let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about this trailer. What stood out to you the most? Is there something that I missed? Is there something that you'd like to explain? Please, I'm all ears. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy the trailer breakdown, drop a like on this video, as it really helps out the channel. Subscribe if you're new here. We got mini trailer reactions happening every single week. And as always, my name is That Guy Rye, and I will see you in the next trailer.